The Oscars, because we did get some really cool. I'm just going to talk for a minute because I know I'm super late talking about this, but I really wanted to talk about it a little bit. And that's the horror winners at the Oscars, because I never really watched the Oscars because I think they're kind of BS. Um, because my major reasons for the Oscars being BS is Alfred Hitchcock having never gotten an Oscar, and when I found out that I believe it was William Hurt that played on the Elephant Man, and he didn't win an Oscar for that, I don't think. And the Elephant Man itself did not. David Lynch's The Elephant Man didn't get an Oscar, and that pissed me off too. And it was that it lost to Out of Africa, and I'm like, how the actual fuck? But and then also the Oscar So White issue. I haven't really watched it in years, but I heard about it, a couple days after, and I was really pleasantly surprised. Also, what they did to Demi Moore last year, because she should have won for The Substance. This year, we did get some horror winners. We got Best Screenplay. Ryan Coogler won. Best Actor, Michael B. Jordan won. Best Cinematography, Autumn Dorald Arkapaw won for Sinners. And she's both Asian and African American, so that's really, really cool. Amy Madigan won Best Supporting Actress for Weapons, which was real big shocker to me. I was so surprised that she got that, because over the years there's been so many well, I'll come back to that. Let me name the others and I'll come back to what I was going to say about Amy Madigan. Frankenstein won a bunch of awards. Best Production Design went to Tamara Deverell and Shane Vio. And also Best Costume Design went to Kate Hawley for Frankenstein. And Best Makeup and Hairstyling for Frankenstein went to Mike Hill, Jordan Samuel, and Cleona Fury. And I thought that was amazing. But over the years, a few actors that I think should have been nominated for Oscars have been, oh God, I'm blanking on her name. You guys will tell me in the chat. The woman that was in Hereditary, she should have been the woman that was in The Babadook absolutely should have been nominated. Homegirl that was in Midsummer should have been nominated. Lupita should have been nominated for Us. She played a dual role, and she should have been nominated. CJ says there was a newer Elephant Man. No, I'm talking about the one from 1980. I believe it came out in 1980. Tom Baker says, if these horror movies were flops, they wouldn't even be nominated. Possibly. But the Oscars often nominate, well, I think it's just because they're horror, they are held to a higher standard. For dramas can be complete flops and still get nominated. But that's, I think, all I wanted to say about that. Oh, I do have some Oscar-related TikToks to show you guys that I thought were pretty cool. Let me pull those up before I get into the news stories. This show might be a little bit of a long one because I have so much to go through. But what do you guys think? What horror actors do you guys think should have been nominated for Oscars? Let's see if anyone has some favorite actors, performances, or directors that should have been nominated for Oscars in the horror sector. If I entertained you, made you smile, or helped you pass the time, please consider supporting this channel so that I can do that more. Horror channels often get suppressed and demonetized, but you can help in 3 ways: by pledging a monthly contribution on Patreon, sending a one-time tip using your preferred financial app, or you could help for free by liking and commenting for the algorithm, and most importantly, sharing this video on your social media. Thank you so much.
Now on with the show.
Tony, man, you are trolling with this Night Patrol shit. Those are all we talked about. Black acting school. Tom Baker could be it could be from the past or it could be current day. But I have a few TikToks that I happen to come across that were really cool behind the scenes. This is Winnie Moo getting ready for her dance sequence on the stage, because they recreated that beautiful sure you guys can hear that.
Yeah, the glue was peeling a little bit. Yeah.
It says that it's coming through a different way. Let me know if you guys can't hear it. Okay, Tom Baker says I only know old actors. British actor Robert Powell. For which horror movie, Tom? Tony Man says David Howard Thornton should be nominated. David Howard Thornton for Terrifier? It is a difficult role to play, being that he has to do a lot of physical acting with no dialogue. I could see that, actually. Tom Baker says he played in 70s horror movies. Dead on Movie says you've named all the horror actors that came to mind for possible Oscar recognition. Oh, you know who else? Her role was super small, and this is probably why she wasn't. But Betty, what her last name? There's a young lady, her name is Betty something. She was in Get Out. And that one scene where she had to laugh and cry at the same time was so impressive to me. But she was also in the Purge election year. But I know her first name is Betty. I can't remember her last name. But that, if her role had been larger, she definitely should have got Best Supporting Actress. But her role was so small, I don't know whether that would have been eligible. Tom Baker says The Survivor 1980. I have not seen that one. Says he played a ghost. I'll have to check that out. All right, so again, this is Winnie Mew getting ready to do her dance at the Oscars and them applying her makeup and her headdress. I just love behind the scenes stuff like this, and I love costuming. Because a lot goes into stage productions. And from this angle, the costuming, like her neck cowl, let me pause it here, may look like it's more simple than ordinarily it would be. But because it's for stage, it's meant to be seen from at least 8 rows back. So sometimes I have to simplify the design so that it looks clear from someone sitting several rows back. You don't want to make it too intricate, because then you can't see the detail in it from a distance. So that's why things are a little bit exaggerated size-wise. Tony says Blackula needs a horror lifetime award, in my opinion. Absolutely, because it changed the game, and that's the first black vampire ever seen on film that I can recall, if I'm not mistaken. Dell says not terribly surprised Madigan won. Oscar loves villains, and absolutely, they do love villains. CJ says, aside, what's the equivalent award for plays? Because David Bowie as Merrick in The Elephant Man, sorry, that would be a Tony Award. Oh, Dell also wrote that. Yeah, Tony Awards is for plays. And there's some people that have all 4, like Whoopi Goldberg has EGOT, which means she has an Academy Award, a Grammy. What is the O one? I forget. Is that the Oscars? Well, then what's the E? Emmy. Sorry, EGOT. So she has an Emmy, she has a Grammy, she has an Oscar, and she has a Tony. Yeah. So very few people have all 4, and Whoopi Goldberg is one of the few people that have all 4. Let me finish this, and I'll show you a couple more. I like the beads on the back that move and everything. I also have a little bit of her dancing. So I'll live like it. I gotta mute it because I'll probably get dinged for copyright if I play the actual music, the beautiful music, but I loved this. Shout out to Amy Mew. And also shout out to Misty Copeland, who came out of retirement to dance again on the Oscar stage as part of the Center's production. And I thought that was so amazing. Oh, Dell says Jennifer Hudson is an EGOT as well. Oh, wow. I did not know that. That's amazing. I'm really happy for her for that. And she deserves it. She's really underrated. Tonyman says James McAvoy needs a Best Actor horror award. Dude can play several different types of villains. Like that movie when he was being uncomfortable with that wussy dude. That was called Speak No Evil. Tom says all these awards. I like Brando's reaction to his Oscar win. I know what you're talking about, Tom. You're talking about when Brando didn't go to the Oscars and he sent a Native American woman to accept his Oscar on his behalf as a protest. All right, what else did I have here? I have Jack O'Connell. He wore his Remick teeth to the Oscars, and I thought that was really cool. indifferent. I respect it. He was also a part of that production when they did the stage recreation of the dance sequence, one of the dance sequences in Sinners, and he walks by the stage as Remick with the other two vampires that were singing "Pick Poor Robin Clean." I thought that was super cool that he did that. I didn't know. It says that the director Ryan Coogler signed "I Love You." But wait, there's more.
Ryan Coogler.
I love you. Thank you, brother. Ryan signed to people on stage the whole night.
You gave me the opportunity and space for me to be seen. And I love you too, bro. Love you to death. I would like to thank...
Thank you.
That's the cinematographer that just said thank you. She won for best cinematographer. I just learned that his wife Zinzi is an ASL interpreter. My heart, as a deaf filmmaker, watching them normalize sign language like that fills her heart, she's saying. I thought that was really cool. I did not know that it happened. More, please. That is really, really cool. I saw this parody. I'm gonna play it one more time. Now, what she's referring to is this moment that happened. And also, homeboy that plays Captain America was also on the stage when this happened.
I love y'all more than anything.
And the Oscar goes to Sinners, Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler has 3 nominations this year, and this is his first Oscar.
Let me know if you guys have any issues hearing.
Overall.
We'll roll that back so you can see how hard that handshake was. I wish I knew what he whispered in his ear. Maybe it was just congratulations, but I'm nosy. That's all I'm going to play because I don't know whether it'll let me get away with playing more.
What happens when athletes become creators and then as creators keep thinking like athletes? You get Ryan Coogler. He got into football because his dad wanted him to stay out of the streets and got a scholarship to play college ball, which was a dream of his. But he wasn't good enough to go pro, so he had to find something else. Freshman year, he was required to take a creative writing course, and this teacher reads a paper he wrote about a situation from his childhood where his dad almost lost his life. Teacher called him in, asked him what he wanted to do with his life. Ryan said he didn't know, and the teacher told him that he should write movies. And as he put it, something woke him up. It was like the seed that becomes a sequoia. Football gave him structure, but writing gave him a voice. When he got into film school, Coogler understood what a lot of people don't. His experience as an athlete enabled him to outwork anybody he met. He was that guy getting kicked out of the editing lab because he stayed there too long. Those short films that he worked on got him an introduction to Forrest Whitaker, who produces the film that becomes his first breakout, Fruitvale Station, based on the story about Oscar Grant, which is an unarmed black man who got killed by law enforcement at a BART stop in Oakland, right? Less than $1 million budget, does over $17 million at the box office. And then that's where him and Michael B. Jordan first link up. Mike McDonald, that head coach from the Seattle Seahawks, after winning the Super Bowl, attributed that win to a philosophy of stacking wins. And that's exactly what Coogler's been doing. And this was just his first one. Fruitvale parlays into Cree.
Hang on. Let me see if I can fix this echo. Tonyman says the Native American woman that accepted the award was done dirty by her sisters. They said she was Native American. Yeah, and there's some ambiguity about that because there's some reports that said that her sisters were hating and that she actually is Native American. Then there's other reports that said she wasn't. But I don't think that was the point Marlon Brando was making. I don't think Marlon Brando knew. He was still trying to support Native Americans, even though whether he sent up a fake Native or not. Dell says Michael B. Jordan was a surprise win for me. He had both genre and race working against him. And Tonyman says Michael B. Jordan sat at an In-N-Out burger place and ate a burger with his Oscar on the table. He was surrounded by fans. Yes, I do. I saw that. Dell says Phil Station is great, but tough to watch. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I didn't watch it, because I know the story of what happened in real life. And I can't, like my sister always says, I can't eat popcorn to my people's oppression. That's not for me. Those type of movies are good to show maybe high schoolers in history class. They're not for me for entertainment. Tom Baker says, yes, it was Sinners for me. Also, that he liked it better than Weapons. And he'll rewatch Sinners, but not Weapons. I'm going to play this video again from the midpoint since there was an echo.
Creed parlays into Black Panther, which literally set the world ablaze, right? Fruitvale was a $900,000 budget. Black Panther was a $200 million budget and still blows out the box office at over $1 billion. One of the highest grossing films of all time. First Black director of a Marvel film. First superhero movie nominated for Best Picture. One of the biggest wins, right? Keep stacking wins. So when he pivots to Sinners, it's completely a bet on himself. Original screenplay, a horror film set in the 1930s, which is a far cry from a hero film set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then here was the real power move. Coogler shopped that script as a package with himself directing, Michael B. Jordan starring, and 3 non-sequels. Final cut, so he gets creative control. First dollar gross, which is money up front, and then full ownership of the film reverting back to him in 25 years. Complete legacy. The studio said no, but you only won yes, and that's what he got from Warner Brothers. A movie about Black ownership in the Jim Crow South gets structured as a deal that builds Black ownership in Hollywood. Sinners became the best film of the year, clearly attested by the 16 Oscar nominations, and now Coogler has become only the second Black filmmaker to win the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. And then his QB1, Michael B. Jordan, wins Best Actor. That's what it looks like when an athlete becomes a creator, but stays thinking like an athlete. You put in the reps, you study the game, you build a team, you do the work. Ryan, MBJ, congrats. What happens when athletes become creators and then as creators?
Now, speaking of Ryan Coogler, Tom Baker says looking forward to his next movie. He's actually working on, I believe, a TV series, and I have one of the actors that was on the original TV series talking about it right here.
I know you publicly talked about the X-Files reboot, so I have to ask you now, because you said you were interested. Have you talked to Ryan at all about anything?
We've had a few conversations.
Okay, that's good news.
He's such a cool guy, and so talented, and the pilot script is really good, and so
okay, that's good.
I would say have an open mind and give it a chance, because it's going to be fucking cool.
That's the best news we could hear.
It really is, and it's something different. It's not, it's different and it's special. So give it a break. Yeah.
I know you publicly.
So that is what's up. I have not heard of Awesome Con, but it's cool to hear from Ian Anderson talking about Ryan Coogler with his X-Files reboot. So, I mean, that's really, really great news.